have an RHR and there was no dispatch, or like Matt's in the gulag.
Matt did not get sent to the gulag.
Yeah.
What is up, freaks? On the live stream, Matt and I were just discussing. I know a lot of you are clamoring for the BitBlock Boom live episode recording on the podcast feed. Believe me, I want it there as well. Trying to hunt down the audio file so that we can do that. If you can't wait, it is on YouTube. Matt and I were just discussing. The audio quality is not as good as it is here on TFTC, but it is manageable. I think is the correct way to put it. What a weekend, man. We were just saying it was so great to see each other.
I love BitBlock Boom. BitBlock Boom is a special event.
It really is.
Shout out to Gary and the rest of the team. I met his wife too, his lovely wife. She was
She's a
fantastic.
sweetheart. She finally, it was her first BitBlock Boom 4 years in, and I think she gets it. I think she gets why her husband is out there working hard, putting together a conference for this weird internet money. I'm retweeting it from the podcast account right now, but I think
He's just doing a personal text.
rehash from the weekend. I left you at like 4:30 a.m. Sunday morning. I had to catch a flight at 8:30 that morning.
Yeah, it was a fun night.
It was a very fun night. However, I just want to brag about my travels that morning. I went. My phone was dead, so I had to walk back to the hotel. I think I didn't know where we are. I just remember like walking around aimlessly at one point at like 4:45, being like, because I wasn't staying at the conference hotel. I had to find my hotel. Finally made it. My phone was dead, and I planned to plug it in for like 10 minutes, let it come back alive. Then I was going to set my alarm for. I was going to get 3 hours of sleep, or 2.5 hours of sleep, whatever it was. Completely just passed out immediately. Luckily, my brother, who was at the conference, we shared a hotel room, and my wife, being the anal retentive travel czar that she is,
Being a fantastic wife is what you meant to say.
yes, being a fantastic wife, knew I was probably going to be in a rough spot. Luckily, she was able to call my brother. He woke me up at 7:15. I made it to the airport through security for my 8:30 flight. It was a big airport win there.
Test.
What are
Test.
we testing?
Oh, I thought I heard an echo. Are you sure you're on the same mic? Because the mic just changed like quality. Just tap your mic real quick.
It says
I
I'm
don't
on.
think you're.
It says
are
I'm
you
on
on that mic?
Roadcaster. It says I'm on Roadcaster. Yeah.
Okay.
What are you freaks hearing? What's the live stream saying?
I'm not looking at the live chat. Shame on me.
Oh, first.
It was just funny because it changed like right as you were making fun of the audio quality of the live rip.
All right,
which
let me
is fitting, to be honest.
let me double check.
I don't think we're live on Twitter, right? Oh, we are. I mean, there we go.
Yeah, worst case scenario, yeah, we are going to download.
You sound fine. I just heard an echo there for a second, but you sound great.
All right, good. How was your travels home?
It was good. I hate traveling nowadays. I love traveling. I hate flying on commercial airlines. It feels like you're just completely cattle. It's just the most ridiculous. I don't know. It's just really, it's infuriating flying now. I keep saying flying now.
And it feels like there's something in the water, in the airports, on the planes that makes everybody super hyper aggressive these days, especially if you fly like the Spirit Airlines of the world, which I've experienced the last couple times in Miami. That's the cheapest, most direct flight is from Atlantic City to Miami from Spirit Airlines, and it's just been when private Citadel planes,
Airships.
I like airships.
I think Bitcoiners should bring airships back.
Okay.
Yeah. They never really had their moment,
No, we need to bring them back. And have you ever seen like the picture of like airplanes in the 70s, people eating like full on 5-course meals?
But that's because back then like everything was first class. It was like the poors weren't allowed to fly. It's just we lost like the middle ground. There should be I don't know, without like paying like $6,000 a flight, there should be a, let me pay $800 a flight or something and have like a nice experience.
Can we pay 20% premium on coach? Like, is first class even worth it? You just
That's
get
what I'm saying.
That weak little curtain. I don't know if I've ever flown first class. Can't remember. Let's jump into it. I'm a little tired. It's been a long week. Not only has it been a long week, it's been a long 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
I've had a lot of Texas, Jersey to Texas, Texas back to Jersey. There's been a lot of things going on in the background for me, behind the scenes. Some of that was announced today. We'll get to that. What are you pulling out here?
Did you see the Ronin Dojo booth at Bit Black Boom?
Yes.
They have a straight aluminum case. It's CNC aluminum. It's just like it's made out of a single block of aluminum. This thing is so fucking heavy. I traveled through 3 airports, and they didn't take it away from me. I thought for sure, like, oh, what why are you just traveling with a block of aluminum with a ninja on the front?
And they stop you at all with it?
Samurai. What?
They stop you at all and say, "What is this?"
No, I checked it, so they didn't take it from me.
No, you're good then. You're good then. They just put.
But every time I took the bag off the carousel, I opened it up real quick, like in the airport, to see if I had to go scream at someone.
What do you think? They're going to steal your Ronin Dojo?
Yeah, I would.
Team is.
If I was a luggage handler, I was like, oh, we can't let that go through. I'll take it.
Yeah, I need this. Is there any way? Could they have backdoored anything in there? Are you worried about that?
No, it's only the case.
All right, sweet.
There's no electronics in it. I have to get the electronics.
Yeah, I had a pleasure meeting Zelko.
He's great.
Right.
Met his wife.
Yeah,
she's great too.
Dream team.
All in.
Zelko
made fun of me afterwards because I had a private conversation with him when I said Lightning was a good post mix tool, and then he shamed me on Twitter about my views on mempool congestion and Lightning.
Mixing first, then Lightning. All right, let's get into this, freaks. I'm looking at Clark's dashboard, and we're chilling at $49,405. We tried to pump above 50K during the live stream. We may have done it temporarily, but we're still below. So if you're listening right now, live or recorded, just go auto stack. Currently, one cuck buck is going to get you 2,024 sats, and the current market cap of Bitcoin is $928.8 billion.
Did you see a freak watched it like 2 days later, and he's like, Matt, when you told me to stack, I still stacked.
Good. If you're listening to this years from now, the year is 2027, you're listening to this random rabbit hole recap from the beginning of September 2021. Stack. I don't care if the price of Bitcoin's 10 million or $10. If it's $10, I hope you're stacking. And if that is the case, the US dollar is either completely worthless or Bitcoin has failed. And this is just a nice show to laugh at, but I don't think that's going to be the case. We're currently at block height 698,733. We already talked about the last difficulty adjustment, which was an upwards difficulty adjustment at 13.2%. Currently 819 blocks away from the next retarget, which is estimated to be on September 7th, 2021. So today's the 2nd. That would be next Tuesday, day after Labor Day here in the United States. As of right now, the adjustment is estimated to be an upward adjustment of 1.4%. Blocks are coming in on average since the last retarget at 9 minutes and 50 seconds. So we've had some pretty big adjustments upwards, and as of right now, 819 blocks away from the next one. It seems like it's going to be a relatively small upward adjustment. Maybe hash rates leveling out a little bit after machines came on over the last 2 months. Currently 16,211 transactions in Clark's dashboard. I think that's the highest we've seen it in quite some time here on TFTC. With that being said, you're still going to be able to get 1 sat per byte transactions through a pretty...
Never not paying 1 sat per byte again.
You're Catan.
Once, shame on you.
You and Catan. You're a Catan disciple now.
I will die on the hill, but at least I won't overpay.
Samurai unspent capacity back over 4,000 Bitcoin, currently sitting at 4,010.36 Bitcoin. That's almost 200 million just below it at $198.2 million or cuck bucks worth of volume. So yeah, there we go. That's Clark's dashboard. We've got some shout outs this week. We'll get to those, but we're going to start. Where are we starting today? Getting to the list. We had a lot of conversation after you dropped the list. The Salvadorian government approves $150 million in the Bitcoin Trust. So this is happened this week. It is before they officially launch Bitcoin as a legal tender instrument on the 7th, coincidentally happening on the day of a difficulty adjustment. And so before that, the Finance Commission of the Legislative Assembly of El Salvador agreed on Monday to create a $150 million Bitcoin trust to facilitate exchange between Bitcoin and US dollars in El Salvador. So pretty big step. Government putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet.
Yeah, that makes logical sense to me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they need to have if their government wallet automatically converts back and forth, they need to have Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to need
the hard part is going to be balancing it like as people are converting.
Yeah. I mean, that's
especially if they get cut off from like the world financial system for adding Bitcoin as legal tender.
Yeah, I hope to have some good hedging strategies in place. Wait, are you talking? You're talking in the chat.
Yeah, I am.
So no, the freaks don't even know which TFTC is which.
I know, because I do this so that I can, whenever I see a scammer, I can remove them from the chat. Oh. I can't do that from my personal account. So for like you haven't realized, but for the last like 10 RHRs, I've been, when I'm in the chat, I'm TFTC.
Us. All right, sweet.
Who is this? That one's Marty.
When does the halving stop having an effect? Never. Yeah. So what do you think? El Salvador, Bitcoin legal tender next week. Do you think any countries are going to follow suit quickly? That's one thing we surmised when the news first dropped in June. It's been a few months.
Maybe like if it works well, definitely like lower GDP, lower population countries that maybe don't have a strong currency, they have more to gain.
Yeah.
That's it's always the challengers, whether it's challenger people, challenger companies, challenger countries. It's never the top dogs are never the first movers.
No. And how do we ensure that El Salvadorians are utilizing Bitcoin in a non-custodial fashion? Because it does seem like they're having a dystopian, neutered version of Bitcoin thrust.
Well, we have on the list, you might as well just jump into it, the Adopting Bitcoin Lightning Summit in El Salvador on November 16th.
Oh.
And the lineup is absolutely fire. So we need more of that. We need positive education. We need open source tools and education that's focused on El Salvador for those tools. And private companies that care about privacy and sovereignty, rather than the government wallet, to give people options. We've talked about this in the past, but unfortunately, the biggest issue here is going to be that the Salvadorian Bitcoin strategy from the government is basically the CBDCB strategy, which is digitize everyone's transactions, be able to track everything, be able to seize at will, and have just a ton of information on all of their financial transactions that are happening by their citizens. It is slightly better because it is also interoperable with the open monetary network that is Bitcoin, right? Like if it was just a straight CBDCB wallet, that, you wouldn't have that option. But the negatives still stand. Besides, you don't have the negative of like inflation because it's Bitcoin based, right?
Yeah.
But the negatives still stand from like a normal CBDCB government digital currency type of system. So I think what happens is, I think on the long-term scale, like people get burned, right? It's the same reason why people realize that PayPal isn't a good way to do business until, when all their money gets frozen and they can't use it.
Yeah. I just hope my fear is that the government tries to force them to use Chivo. Um, I hope they're open to
They
non.
don't have. That's the thing, Marty. They don't have to force it, right? It's a story as old as time, right? They give everyone $30 free worth of Bitcoin if they download this wallet. People love free money,
It's
and
true.
then they can, because they get the benefit of seeing everyone's transactions, they can offer cheaper transactions than any of the private or open source options, right? Like they can know it, like an open source tool. Bitcoin Beach wallet can't compete with transaction fees with the government wallet. If the government wants to subsidize transactions on their wallet, they'll never be cheaper.
Be a premium on privacy.
Yeah.
Has to be expected. Has to be expected. We'll be
I
keeping you
think, did
guys.
we talk about it? Or maybe it happened and we didn't talk about it because we had the live. The diagram leaked. Did we
Yeah,
talk about that
yeah.
with Athena blockchain?
I think
Athena
we
Bitcoin?
I think we glossed over it. I remember mentioning it on
Oh, because they
stage. But
changed surveillance companies too.
yeah, they have Cipher and Elliptic, right?
Yeah,
They're feeding data too. That was just like a leaked document, right? We can't confirm whether or not it's the
correct.
exact architecture.
But it makes sense because Athena Bitcoin's the one rolling out all the ATMs too.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're rolling out like 300 ATMs throughout the country.
Yeah. Chivo. Yes, we'll be following the El Salvador story as it continues to develop. I think it's encouraging. But again, just waiting with cautiously optimistic that things will just take off and Bitcoin will, even if it's attempted to be forced to be used in a certain way, will find a way. Life, the Bitcoin life boat will find a way to get non-custodial options into individual El Salvadorian hands. Speaking of Bitcoin being integrated, this is something that's been talked about for quite a while. Twitter adding Bitcoin tipping to their app. So it looks like a couple users have gotten access to a beta version of Twitter that allows you to connect a Strike account that will enable you to tip other Twitter users via Bitcoin, via the Lightning Network using the Strike app only right now. I think that, again, it's beta. We've only seen screenshots. I don't know if there's been any official announcement of a partnership.
I mean, Dorsey
exclusivity.
kind of insinuated that it was official on Twitter.
Did he?
But yeah, because I think Gladstein said, I'm sure, because Strike is US only and KYC'd. And he was like, I'm sure they're looking into having international partners that will do it in other places. And then Dorsey responded deaf,
Okay.
which kind of insinuated the original comment.
Yeah.
It's actually a little bit less revolutionary or groundbreaking than a lot of the headlines would let you believe. Because if you KYC through Twitter and go through their monetization program, you can already, I think you might have to be a blue check. I'm not sure. You can already accept tips from like Apple Pay, Venmo, Cash App, obviously. I'm not sure on the exact list because I've not done that. I have no intention of doing that. So they just added Strike they're adding Strike as a company as well to those payment apps, right? So in that way, they're not treating Bitcoin as like a first class citizen or like a Bitcoin tipping option. It's really just like another bank payment app is supported on Twitter for tipping. And this one just happens to be a Bitcoin first one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's tipping and Bitcoin on Twitter. It's been a big theme throughout at least my experience on Bitcoin Twitter. I mean, we've talked about this before, but I think it bears mentioning back in like the 2014, 2015
Change tip
days of Bitcoin Twitter, change tip. It's funny now going like it's searching.
I used to love change tip.
I did too, dude. Well, it's like funny going and looking at change tips, like change tipping people in like 2015, saying like $10 worth of Bitcoin.
Well,
it's probably worth like $2,000 now.
The cool part about change tip was, first of all, no KYC. But the cool part about change tip was you could tip them in line, right? Which is what we tried to do at Bottle Pay before KYC had to be implemented. But you could tip them in line, and then So everyone would see it. So it would work as like a ratio tweet against like a no corner blue check. And then if they don't accept it, you get it back. So you could like, if like Paul Krugman was talking shit about Bitcoin, you'd be like, shut up, Paul, like have a case of beer on me and send him like $50 worth of Bitcoin. And then you'd ratio him, and then you wouldn't even have to give up the Bitcoin because you knew he wasn't going to go and actually accept it. Right. So it's a fantastic troll tool. But what I want to see is so we have Paynims, we have BIP47 for on-chain Bitcoin transactions, and we have the Bolt 12 spec for reusable invoices on Lightning, and both share the same characteristic that you have a privacy-preserving text string, just letters and numbers in text form that are reusable, that don't impact your privacy negatively for being reused or publicly posted, and can be shown as a QR code. And if we get those in, any service that wants to integrate Bitcoin payments can integrate Bitcoin payments through those two specs without any additional server infrastructure. All they have to do is allow a user to upload this text string, and they can either show it as a text string that you can copy or a button that you press that opens an app or whatever, or they can show a QR code that you scan. And they don't need any additional server infrastructure. They don't need any APIs. They don't even have to run nodes, and they can integrate sats on their platform. So, I mean, I think that's hopefully the way. I don't really care if Twitter does it or not, but hopefully that's the way a lot of these services go when it comes to integrating sats and Bitcoin.
Yeah. And even with that being said, there's already ways to hack it, right? You can put your pay name, at least the string in
My pay name's Odell. I don't even need to post it.
Yeah.
You just it's intuitive.
And then like Lightning address too, you can put that in your bio. If it comes down to a QR code, you could just tweet out a picture of your QR code, pin the tweet.
But it's nice if a service just integrates that little upload of a text string.
Yeah.
So that it's shown in like a first class way, rather than like a hacky kind of way.
No, it'd be nice to be able to like pick up a tweet and have like a button. If you use the Brave browser, they have the Brave tip button. What was that token? What was that? There was a Lightning like browser extension that had like the Lightning tip.
It was Tippin.me had one.
Yeah, Tippin.me.
They still have it. It still exists.
Yeah.
But Tippin.me is custodial, and it's no KYC, but every custodial service is like, if they consult any lawyers, they're telling them you got to add KYC. So Tippin.me, I love the service. I use the service. I just constantly empty it whenever tips come in, but they're not accepting any new users, and it's because of custodial. So like the beauty of and Lightning address is cool, and you can use it in a non-custodial way. But the majority of people are going to use it in a custodial way. Like LN Transaction Bot, if you have a wallet on LN Transaction Bot, which is custodial, your username at lntxbot.com is your Lightning address. So it's a good stopgap. In the meantime, it's there, it works, it's human readable. But to me, like Bolt 12 is a Lightning native protocol. BIP47 is a Bitcoin native protocol. You don't need additional servers. You just need that text string.
Yeah.
So that to me is like the holy grail of Bitcoin integrations. Like if we can have that, then integrating sats into your product is as easy as 2 hours of code.
Yeah, like it should be like Blue Wallet, where they have their custodial Lightning wallet, but you have the opportunity to put your LND hub string in there, and then you just connect it to your node. It should be that simple.
For what?
For Twitter.
Lightning address?
Yeah, okay. Or just for Twitter integrate. Like imagine.
Yeah, I mean, so the future, Marty, is like you open up Moon, or you open up Phoenix, or you open up Breeze or something, like a self-custody Lightning wallet. And when you generate an invoice, instead of that invoice being a one-time only, it's your Bolt 12 reusable invoice. And then you can just share that QR code or the text, and anyone can reuse that over and over again. But you don't have the negatives of reusing a Bitcoin address where everything is visible on chain and you have an obvious trail of money. So that's the goal with Bolt 12. Sea Lightning is already integrating it in beta, I believe. Hopefully we see more apps follow suit. I think it could happen sooner rather than later if the demand is there, and I believe the demand is there. I think it's a very important use case, and you get other benefits besides the fact that it's reusable invoices. But that actually reminds me. So, did you participate in casino night at Big Black Boom?
Mm-hmm.
So Gary killed it. He had this casino night that I thought was like going to be like, I love you, Gary. I thought it was gonna be kind of shitty because it was like with fake. It was with fake money. He like used like BitBlock boom bucks that you could then convert into raffle tickets to win prizes.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Our dealer at the blackjack table was this lovely woman. I'm not gonna dox her name, but I do remember it. I was like, "Can we tip you in Bitcoin?" She had no idea what Bitcoin was, right? She had an iPhone. She was at 2% battery life. And we got her to download Moon Wallet with 2 U's. And everyone at the table tipped her in Bitcoin, both on chain and Lightning, in a relatively self-custody, trust minimized way. And she still had 1% battery life left, which was like the greatest Bitcoin onboarding experience I've ever had.
That sounds incredible. Well, then we tried to get the craps table dealer to accept Bitcoin. He wouldn't do it. Like he's like, I'm not doing that. But no, it's like, so the 2% battery from 0 to accepting on-chain and Lightning payments before that phone died with time to spare.
Fantastic.
It's getting easier, freaks. The UX is improving. Yeah, it's going to take time. It's going to take patience. I think that's been the theme of this podcast for the last 4 years is patience. We've been talking about all this stuff. Visualizing what may come. It seems like things are coming together. I will say though, the casino night, even though it was like BitBlock boom bucks, it's hilarious how like the human psychology works. It's like just trying to like accumulate chips. Like it, you still, even though it was fake money, you literally didn't put up anything.
Well, you can buy back in.
Yeah, you could buy back in, but it was
they gave you like $25 worth of credits.
It was hilarious how it was literally worth nothing other than raffle tickets to potentially get you donated gifts. And you were just like, fuck, I hate that I lost that hand. There's something about like the psychology that was fascinating to experience in real time. I had to like literally take a deep breath and be like, this is not worth anything. Why am I getting pissed at this?
Oh no, we had a great, my table. I walked in and there was just like, there's this table of young plebs, and I just sat down and we just fucking went for it for like, what was it, like 2 hours or something? I never left the table.
Yeah, I came in for the last hour and I played blackjack for like
that was fun
30 minutes, and then Kelly Lannon and Grant from 1031 were teaching me how to play craps. Craps is still no idea what's going on in that game. No idea.
My table was Young Lurk, I don't know his nick. Don, Nick Can't Mine, Tyler, Casey, and I'm forgetting one, and Dylan.
Dylan LeClaire.
It was a fucking fire table.
Yeah, it was a fire weekend. Again, next year it's going to be in Austin. Does it lose its luster in Austin next year in June? I hope not. I don't think it will. I'm very happy it's happening in Austin because I'll be able to sleep in my own house.
Yeah, it is going to happen. I think he said he was going to go bigger. I hope it's not too much bigger.
Right? That's the beauty of BitBlock Boom. Gary, if you're listening, I'm sure you're on vacation right now. I hope you are, at least. The intimacy of BitBlock Boom and the camaraderie, especially if you've been like I've gone 4 years in a row, and it's just same faces, same people.
I know, it's like a family reunion. It's not really a conference.
Yeah, it's a great vibe. There's no shitcoinery, obviously, and it's just like hardcore Bitcoiners. It's a very Philadelphia 1775 vibe.
LobbyCon.
Right.
Probably nothing like 1776 or 1775, but it's fucking hilarious. Just like in the lobby of the Marriott, just constantly just Bitcoiners drinking and talking Bitcoin.
Yeah, shilling. That was another funny story. Apparently, the list isn't that long, so we can go off of the tangents today.
Black Boom.
So apparently, Will Cole made me aware of this, but did you notice there was like an orthodontist conference going on at the same time on the other side?
Really?
Yeah, well, apparently they do it every year at the same
There
weekend.
was last year. I remember the orthodontist
They were
last
there
year.
again this year, and apparently a couple of them came up. Uh, it's like Will Cole and them are like, yeah, we were here last year. We bought Bitcoin, and we're very happy. Like,
That's fucking
we're
awesome.
shilling the orthodontists of the world too.
I guess last year was the first time they were the same time because we were at the other Marriott the 2 years before that.
Yep. That's something I noticed too. I was like walking. I was like, the conference wasn't here last year, was it? Like,
But because they closed, the same owner owns both, and he closed one of them because of COVID and
yeah,
just consolidated into a single one.
yeah.
We have Justin in the comments mentioning October Bit Devs, which is happening the same week as Austin's F1 in Austin, which I will be there for that.
We'll be doing an in-person RHR that's not at a conference for the first time in quite some time. That'll be,
Austin Bit Devs is like 200 people now.
Yeah, it's getting bigger. And Unchained is
might as well be a conference.
Unchained's getting in new offices from what I hear, so I think the capacity will be opening up.
Baller.
Yeah. Shout out to Parker Lewis. I mean, I tweeted this out earlier this week, but honestly, like, it's an earnest recognition
I love that dude.
of how hard that dude grinds, especially in Texas. Like, the Wednesday night before the conference, we were down in Houston, Bitcoin meetup, but it was like shilling Bitcoin to the oil and gas industry. Him and Alves Lacrosse, that dirtbag Al, are running that meetup, and just through a great event. It was at this really cool car garage. They did a bit of a Socratic seminar. They talked about some topics, and then they had a panel discussion about mining. Woke up the next morning, drove to Dallas before BitBlock Boom, gave like a huge presentation, which he wound up, it was the same presentation he gave at the conference, with a little twist on it, like pitching high net worth individuals. And he's just like nonstop grinder, always orange pilling, always Texas pilling, always ribeye pilling. Shout out to Parker, man.
I love you, Parker. Great dude.
Disclaimer, Unchained's a sponsor of the pod.
But only because we like him.
Yeah, I mean, we have a really light list. I just go straight to shout outs here.
Do you have any shout outs? Someone gave me a shout out.
We have quite a few. Let's read the one. We were gifted a bottle of Rabbit Hole whiskey.
Oh, did you get it too?
Yeah. We were gifted that for.
He said he couldn't reach you.
It's in
from Full Metal.
Full Metal, yeah. I just got.
Can I read this one? I never read.
Yes,
never read shout outs. He was the one who gave us the Rabbit Hole recap.
Yes.
The Rabbit Hole whiskey that we drank.
Shout out to Full Metal Anarchist.
Yeah. Shout out to Freaks gave us 3 bottles of whiskey to choose from for the
Yeah. I was just carrying that Rabbit Hole whiskey around.
I had the bottle on I had one of the bottles on the bar unopened at like the LobbyCon bar, like at the lobby bar, and the bartender comes up to me and he goes, "Is there alcohol in there?" I was like, "Yeah, it's an unopened bottle of whiskey." He's like, "You can't have that on the bar." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just an alcoholic, so people just keep handing me bottles." And he's like, "That's awesome." And I think his response was like, "That's awesome," or whatever. Anyway, from Full Metal, Sub Freaks, I know there's a lot of noise out there and our future can seem uncertain and scary at times, but we are winning. Keep stacking, keep educating your friends and family on why they should be stacking too. And if they aren't ready yet, consider stacking some sats for them. Use the open source tools available to take back not just your financial sovereignty, but sovereignty of your data too. The crypto anarchist future is upon us. Buckle up. This is going to be a wild ride.
Yeah. I talked to Full Metal Anarchist for quite a bit too. I met his wife as well. Pretty sure his wife. Either his wife or his girlfriend. Lovely couple, regardless. He was tucked.
She's great. That was her second year.
Yeah. They were tuxed up. He was tuxed up. They looked very good that Saturday night of the conference. Thank you for the whiskey. It was delicious. I wound up polishing off the bottle, not by myself. People were taking swigs, but that did not go to waste. There was no drop wasted there. Here we go. We got a shout out from some European plebs. Hi, Marty and Matt. We're a handful of European plebs and want to move to Texas, but the federal immigration laws are just nuts. No way we're spending $1.8 million in U.S. cuckbucks on an EB-5 investor's visa. This is insane. Europe is going full 1984, and Texas seems to be the best place to be right now. Have you ever thought of starting a grassroots movement similar to Bitcoin Beach or the Second Amendment sanctuaries movement? When does Texas start ignoring federal immigration laws? When does the local Bitcoin community start fighting to get the good people in? I find it so unfair that as freedom-loving, law-abiding people can't get into the U.S., but illegal immigration is rampant. It kills me, man. We just want to be left alone and be among like-minded people who don't think you're a fucking weirdo if you're a sovereign individual, want to raise a family, have a house, a garden, and carry a gun. Much love from Switzerland at the Bigga Picta, DABIGGAPICTA. P.S. If you two want to get in touch. Okay, I can't
read that part.
I can't read that out loud. But shout out to you,
played, Marty.
The Bigga Picta.
If it makes you feel any better, 1.8 million. What is that, like $80,000 in 1970 money?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can really bring anything productive to this guy. Like, it sucks. I agree. I wish it was
anyone.
easier.
Parker will be the one who could do this for you. Our previous talk about Parker is he's the chance.
I'm sure he's working on it in some capacity, or at least has it in his mind. But yeah, it sucks. It is. I do agree. It is. I don't want to get political, but it is a little fucked up that like everybody's just like, let all the illegal immigrants in, and like I just know of people. I was talking with a gentleman, Drew, the drive from Houston to Dallas. He was explaining his parents immigrated from India, and it pisses them off that they had to go through the process, and it took them years and a lot of hard work to do it the right way. And it is annoying to see that, especially on our southern border, people are just allowed to come in illegally and get sanctuary.
Well, I mean, he could fly to Mexico and do it himself.
Yeah, right. That may honestly, if we're giving out advice here,
I'm not giving. That's not my advice. It might be Marty's advice.
I'm not giving out advice either, but honestly, probably the lowest friction way. That's a funny.
Mexico's not that bad with the vaccine stuff.
I don't think so.
In general, even if you don't want to illegally cross.
Yeah, do you think the cartels are going to start mandating vax passports?
I know, like the people. There's like a bunch of other countries you can choose. You have to like contact Katie the Russian, Plan B passports.
Yeah. Contact Katie.
Start with like a middle ground country. This is not advice. Start with a middle ground country, right? Like one of these ones you can like buy citizenship for cheap. And then you can just like wait it out. Like if we're right and Bitcoin goes up in price, then all of a sudden you have all the bargaining power in the world. You just need to buy a little time.
Yeah. It's a shitty situation. It is a shitty situation. Yeah, I can't offer that. I honestly can't offer very good advice on this topic. I'm not an immigration expert.
Call Katie.
Marty, been a minute since I reached out. Since it would be weird for me to pull you aside here at the conference, I'm using this shout out to let you know that you need to tone it down on the radicalization talk. As your FBI guy, I can assure you that the alphabet agencies are hypersensitive to it. You may think that it doesn't matter or they'll never bother with me. Trust me, your friend Matt is right on this one. Just steer clear of language that will get you flagged. Love and peace, Marty's FBI guy at FBI Marty's on Twitter.
I met him at Pit Black Boom.
I left. Is he legit in the FBI?
No.
Okay.
A spoiler.
Not a letter. Yeah, Matt and I talked about this in person. I'm not trying to get on any list, especially now that I'm on the board of directors at a publicly traded company.
You want to talk about that? Do we have any more shout outs?
Yeah, we do. We can break it up though. We have one more.
Okay, so let's talk about Fortress. Congratulations, Marty.
Thank you.
On the board of directors of a publicly traded company.
Thank you.
Canada, a secondary exchange market, not a real
Canada. Yeah, I'm just trying to be careful. Honestly, like this is all very new, very raw to me.
No insight. You can't like give information or
I
whatever,
don't know
right?
what I'm allowed to say. What I will say is that I'm very happy to be on the board. It's public knowledge that Fortress has been working very closely with Great American Mining. This is public knowledge via the PR release that came out. I've been talking very closely with Roy Sabag, who's behind Bitfarms and Mene and a bunch of other companies that have been very successful. And we've been getting into deep philosophical talks about Bitcoin in the future and where we want to take where how we want Bitcoin to succeed, and Fortress being a way in which to bring that vision to fruition. And so I'm going to try and help steer the ship there from the board to bring a Bitcoin focused, publicly traded company to the market that's doing things right and in the ethos of Bitcoin. I think that's all I'm comfortable saying, and it's not.
They only do mining.
Yes, right now.
So they're like kind of like a Hut 8 or something, but smaller.
Smaller, yeah.
But Hut 8 does their own operations while Fortress invests in others, right? Or does Fortress also do their own operations?
Fortress does have their own 4 megawatt operation up in Washington State. That's been up and running for a few years.
Do you know what the Canadian SEC is called?
Excuse me?
Do you know what the Canadian SEC is called?
No. I did have to fill out all their forms yesterday. I don't remember exactly.
I was just curious.
Maybe before.
Well, anyway, congratulations, Marty. Well
thank you. Thank you. Again, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, what I'm not allowed to say. I will just say that
but it's not a troll, right?
It's not a troll.
Marty joined the board of a company that has ESG in their bio, and it's not a troll.
It's not a troll. However, just trust me when I say I have not been compromised. I think you guys will be happy with what goes on there.
We'll wait 2 weeks and reassess.
Yes. I'm excited. It'll be fun. Last shout out. This one's going to start some controversy. What's your favorite rare Pepe?
I never got into them.
I had them gifted to me. If you go back, you listen to like episode.
You still have them?
Yeah, I still have. They're on an open dime. I have never opened the
They're probably worth a shit ton with the NFT craziness.
I know. Should I liquidate them, or should
if you do, you shouldn't talk about it on air.
Yeah. So I said, Marty, blink 3 times. You've been compromised.
He's gonna try not to blink for the rest of it.
I think Rare Pepe. Rare Pepe, especially if you're around during those days, it was like a very funny theme. Obviously, John Seth and Krista Rowe had Bitcoin.
It destroyed their relationship.
Yeah, it really did. I think just for that reason alone, it's a very entertaining story, a very niche story in Bitcoin's history. They had an incredible podcast. I still talk to John Seth. I haven't heard anything from Krista Rowe. I don't know what that dude's up to. Not that I talked to him that much, even when he was around. Yeah, I think the Rare Pepe is cool. I like the Satoshi Nakamoto one, just because it's like actually not Satoshi Nakamoto. It's that Dorian Nakamoto guy that Newsweek tried to dox.
Our boy Dorian.
Yeah, I think that might be the most expensive one too. So that's maybe like me saying like I like fucking Charizard. It's my favorite.
Do you have that one?
No, I do not.
It's like saying like your favorite baseball player is like Mickey Mantle or like Babe Ruth or something.
Yeah. I guess that's what if I have to answer the shout out, that's what I'd say.
I do not have a favorite. I look, I understand like NFTs or like baseball cards or whatever, but like I just rather own Bitcoin.
Yeah, me too. That's the other thing too. It's like everybody's like, oh, Bitcoin's losing out on the NFT market. I'm like, have fun over there, little boys. We're gonna go take over the energy market. Like,
for most people, if they're not using privacy best practices, Bitcoin is the most valuable NFT. We have every sat is a non-fungible token.
The NFT craze is still blowing my mind. It's still blowing my mind.
It doesn't blow my look, Bitcoin's been compared to these things like Beanie Babies. Like the NFT craze is like Beanie Babies. But that's not even a condensation, like a condensation of them, you know?
Yeah.
Condensation. It's not water, but anyway. It's like baseball cards, right? It goes through Magic. Remember Magic the Gathering when we were kids or whatever?
Yeah.
Um,
The Black Lotus. That's like the most coveted.
and then what were those? Do you remember those like little things that you would? What were those called? Do you know what I'm
Hogs?
talking about?
Hogs?
I don't think they were called pogs. But anyway, there's like all these different collectibles that go through like different crazes or whatever. Um, so like it doesn't surprise me. Like if we live in a digital age, you're gonna have digital collectibles. Uh, they always go through boom and bust cycles, and they usually never recover the individual things. So
Well, that Pokemon.
buyer beware.
It's like a cycle though. Yeah. Eh.
Yeah, Pokemon cards, they were worth a shit ton. Remember, people were paying like stupid money on them.
Yeah.
Shoes, like sneakers, like limited edition sneakers. I have a buddy who just flips sneakers all the time.
Yeah. I mean, like people do it with Supreme drops. They have like bots
Right.
that buy that shit up at price and sell it for 4 or 5x on secondary markets. Yeah, I mean, we can't deny there's markets for that stuff. Are they long lasting? Are they
Focus on
something?
Bitcoin.
Yeah, are they something I want to focus on? No, not personally. I've had rare Pepes gifted to me. Have them on an open dime. I think they're cool. Just to be like, I had this like somewhat historical piece of Bitcoin history.
What they have to figure out is like a way to like verifiably flex it on people, right? Because like if I'm gonna buy expensive like rare sneakers, it's so that like I want to flex on someone and walk in wearing it, or right, or like if you have a rare Pokemon card, you want to be able to play it in the deck, to flex on someone. You need to have.
That's the other thing. I don't. I'm not a big flexer.
Do we just sound like boomers?
Maybe. I know I certainly do. I own Boomer Uncle Marty. I think it's just the nature of my being. But yeah, no, it's again everything. Art is subjective. Value, when it comes to art, is subjective. I don't value it that much. Other people do.
What I think about an NFT is I think it's like the certificate of authenticity, right? So like I have a Shaquille O'Neal basketball, right? And there's a certificate of authenticity that says this is like Shaquille O'Neal signed this in like this day in like 95 or whatever. Like the record on the chain, hopefully it's not on a shitcoin chain that is corruptible, but the record on the chain is like the certificate of authenticity of that collectible.
Yeah.
So it can still be inflated by Shaquille. Like Shaq can go and sign a bunch of more things, but it's certified that Shaq did it on this date. He signed this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we're talking like Gary Vee and the Paul brothers and all those types hawking it, just indicators that should be going off in your mind with that. All very successful people. So who am I to talk? Who knows?
I mean, Gary's a scammer, right?
He's
Isn't he like a self-financial guru or something?
Yeah, he's like a hustler guru.
Are there any like self-finance gurus that aren't fucking scammers?
Yeah, I don't know. Are we
like if you could tell me how to be rich, like why aren't you just rich?
I think he is rich.
But he's got rich telling people how to get rich.
Yeah. Telling people how to do like digital marketing. Vegas Dave Portnoy. I think Barstool came out with some NFTs, but I think it was just like as a test. I'll never forget December 2017 being on an email thread, getting pulled into an email thread as Bitcoin Marty. Like somebody was trying to convince Barstool to do an ICO. It's just like, no, you guys can barely keep a WordPress site up, let alone a fucking blockchain.
Well, that's not required. You don't have to actually keep the site up to have a successfully scammy ICO.
Right. These cycles happen. Okay. Like it was
my boy Don has confirmed my bias about Gary, so we're good.
He's a rent seeker. Gary, if you ever want to come on, let me know. We'll hash it out.
I don't endorse the message.
Software updates. Here we go. Simple Bitcoin Wallet version 2.0.5 has been released.
Worst name in the space.
Yeah.
Great project.
Dad, I don't have time for this right now, okay?
You just answer, put on speakerphone.
Should I?
I don't know. It's your dad.
Dad, we're recording RHR right now. You're on air.
Hello, Marty.
What are you doing?
Nothing. I'm just ripping it back from the epic flood in Manayunk. The town is literally underwater. It's insane.
Yeah. I saw the 611's underwater too. Or 676.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
676, Conshohocken, the bridge. That's disaster. The whole area is just suffering from the lack of poor drainage.
Yeah. Schuylkill is like 15 feet over what it should be, right?
Yep. Yeah. All-time high. Nuts.
East Falls underwater too?
East Falls is somewhat safe. They're tougher, you know what I mean? They're a little more blue collar, so they're gonna make it work.
All right.
All the fluff in Manayunk is in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, how's Delco? Is Delco dry?
Delco's dry. The Darby Creek is that's behaving.
Okay. All right, that's good. Thank you for the Philadelphia area flood update. We're gonna get back to the regular scheduled programming.
The RHR weather update.
All right, Matt. Later.
Cheers.
That was my father, everybody. Just doxed his voice.
We should have him do the weather update every week.
Dad called me for the weather update. Yeah, the floods, man.
That was fantastic. I'm glad you did that. I'm glad it didn't fuck up the. We used to have the issue with the phones too close to the.
Yeah, it's like
mic.
Yeah, the floods are crazy, man. New York, Brooklyn's fucking murked, dude. The subway scenes, the L, all that shit.
Did you just see it just pouring through the subway, like the video clips or whatever?
Yeah.
All the infrastructure is just falling to pieces, and the tax base has just escaped because anyone who's smart is not going to live in New York anymore.
No.
The whole state is going to have issues because the city's going to pull down the state with them.
Yeah, the tax base is completely exiting the state. So,
not great.
Not great. We're going to get waves here on Tuesday, though, where I am. Looking forward to that. And if anybody out there listening has been affected by these floods, pulling for you. I know it's...
if we can help in any way, let us know.
Yes, please do. Spreading information, connecting people with things, whatever it may be.
If you need Marty to gift you a rare Pepe, he'll do it.
Yeah. Shade thrown. Ty, you're not an NYC Bitcoiner anymore. You're moving to Austin. We decided over the weekend. I don't know if you're
depressing. The NYC Bitcoiners, we keep posting like the poll, like, have you left yet? Planning to leave, never coming back, or whatever. And it's like the most depressing poll.
Hey, when you fuck up when you fuck up a city, people vote with their feet. What's happening now? Spectre desktop version 1.6.0 has been released. We're just going to tie this all back to BitBlock Boom. It was so good to see Ben Kaufman over the weekend. The Bens were out in full force.
Nah, fuck the Bens. I like Kaufman though.
What's your beef with the Bens? The other Bens?
I don't know. They need to stay humble.
Yeah. Hey, Carman, watch your six, bro.
Kaufman looked like he aged 4 years since I saw him in Miami. He's going for the facial hair look.
Yeah, he's got the beard.
Bitcoin will do that to you. Bitcoin, you just 4 months in Bitcoin, it'll age you.
Yeah. Try spending 8 years here. I feel that's why I'm a boomer.
Boomer. You were born a boomer. You came right out as a boomer.
Spectre Desktop 1.6 is out, and as well as Spectre Do It Yourself version 1.6.
Do you think they're intentionally keeping the same numbers?
Release versions?
I mean, they came out back to back, same number.
I mean, I guess it's just simplified, right? I imagine they can do both. And anybody on the Spectre team wants to explain it, please hop in. Seed Signer version 0.4.4 has been released. I was actually going to the YouTube comments, and the most recent one was somebody commenting on your episode, a Citadel Dispatch, going over Seed Signer. Said it was very informative. So if you haven't checked that out, go rip it.
Thank you.
Anything Anything pertinent with this new feature? Smart scanning identifies items. No.
I don't know. I'm exhausted. I haven't looked through any of the release notes. I just put it on the list. I put it on the list and I was like, I wonder if these numbers are the same for the same reason. That's my takeaway.
Blue Wallet version 6.2.4 has been released. A bunch of fixes, a couple add-ons. Nothing too crazy.
They added Lightning address support to send, not to receive.
That's pretty big. Yeah. Third bullet point of the release notes. Lightning address send support has been added. Cold Card version 4.1.3 has been released. Enhances supporting import descriptors command in Bitcoin Core.
PSBTs and Bitcoin Core.
Yeah.
Support.
Hell yeah. Translation, easy air gap PSBT operation with Bitcoin Core. That's pretty dope.
Oh yeah, Spectre added Taproot. Shout out Barrage in the comments.
Shout out Spectre.
Taproot support when it goes live.
Yeah. This seems pretty big. They're removing the M-0-0 derivations from public.txt and Address Explorer since the path is obsolete.
Cold Card.
Yes. So that probably reduces confusion, at least a little bit. Fix some bugs too. If we're running a cold card again, it's version 4.1.3. It's been released. Consider updating. Make sure you're comfortable before doing so. Check it out.
Yeah, Lurk's in the comments telling us about the cold. We just talked about the cold card update.
Yeah, Lurk. Freaks, we've been doing this for 3 years now. You don't think we have this down? I'm disappointed. We already briefly mentioned this, but the Human Rights Foundation is having a Bitcoin Academy for activists on October 4th and 5th in Miami. I regretfully had to decline an invitation from Alex Gladstein to come to this. It's going to be in the middle of my move. I'm bummed I'm missing it, but you will be there speaking, doing demos. What do you plan on doing?
So the workshop, we have a whole Bitcoin Academy day full of workshops. So HRF has their annual Oslo Freedom Forum, which, as the name would let you believe, it's in Oslo every year. But due to COVID, everything happens in Miami now. So Oslo Freedom Forum is going to be in Miami. And Gladstein championed the idea of adding another day to the event. That is the Bitcoin Academy. And it's going to be for activists and dissidents and try and educate them on Bitcoin best practices. There's going to be workshops on like multi-sig, accepting donations, privacy best practices, spending your Bitcoin without KYC, things like Bitrefill. I'm sure I missed a bunch of other things, but my part of the workshop is I'm going to be working with Evan Kaludis and Janine. Janine's going to be remote, but I'm going to be working with Evan and Janine, and we're going to be doing a privacy workshop. Bitcoin privacy workshop.
Just lost my voice there temporarily. Hell yeah. Shout out to the Human Rights Foundation, Alex Gladstein specifically, I think. MVP, or like one of the MVPs out there, man. If anybody's like really trying to lean into...
We need to get him on Rogan.
We will. Joe, I know you're listening to this.
Joe
Rogan, I know you're listening. I know you're recovering from COVID right now because you took ivermectin.
But he also took like everything else.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Z-Pack. He took an antibacterial Z-Pack or whatever.
People are pissed that he's public about like recovering so quickly. But these drugs work.
And he was vaccinated too. He was double vaxxed.
He was double vaxxed. He still got it, and then the therapeutic drugs help him get over it much quickly.
I think
much more quickly than he otherwise would have. Just fucking take the therapeutic drugs. It worked for me. It worked for Joe Rogan. It could work for you too. We're going to get everybody on Rogan. Don't worry, Sterling Greer. No, we do need to get him on Rogan. But
he'd be the best one on Rogan.
And again, this is like one of the biggest knocks is that you still see is Bitcoiners only care about the price. And I think Alex is just like the perfect example of an individual who just focuses on freedom, money, and freedom technology, and stays away from like price talk, and really highlights
he loves price talk.
The revolutionary nature of the protocol.
He's just really good at the freedom talk too.
Yeah. The freedom talk's good. I feel like I should just talk like this for the rest, every time we record.
I think I should just do the show with your dad.
It was great to get my dad, Marty Sr., on the show. He's a legend. He's a Philly legend. I would imagine he's literally just driving around the Philadelphia area to check things out. What the hell's going on? Manioc. That's the other thing. Like seeing all this flood stuff, I'm so happy I'm not in like a massive city right now, particularly like New York and Philly, because there's like all that flood and all the trash. Like I can't imagine the stink after all that just like goes away.
I'm done with cities. Period. I'll visit.
Somebody said Nick Carter had a great Twitter Spaces the other day. Is this true? Were you there?
Oh, it was a Bitcoin Magazine Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, I think it was, why should your money depend on energy?
I was not there. I couldn't make it. I was recovering from BitBlock Boom.
Yeah, I couldn't make it either, but I did see the topic was
it was the energy.
Why should money cost energy, or like something like that. Speaking of which, I threw this on the end of the list because I was just watching it before we met here and congregated for Rabbit Hole Recap this week. But Lynn Alden debated that dude from what the hell, Digiconomist.
Did you watch it? The guy who was like the prolific FUD piece.
Yeah,
Digiconomist.
Yeah, I watched half of it. She destroyed him.
Does that publication have to do anything besides just that one FUD piece on Bitcoin? Like, it just seems like a bullshit site.
Apparently, they have like data too, like on energy.
Well, how could you trust their data if that's what they say about Bitcoin?
I mean, that's what. Well, that's one thing. Nick has a vendetta against Digiconomist people, and this guy particularly, and he's like on a deep dive into the what's the word? What's the phrase I'm looking for? Give me a second here. Like the way in which they did the research, and it's just completely flawed. The way in which they're deriving their end conclusions from the data they're taking in. So you can go find content of Nick dumping on that, and then we're going to link to this YouTube debate. It's an hour long. One of the editors of The Economist moderated it. It was a debate.
The actual Economist, not the Digi Economist.
No, The Economist. Yeah, the fiat paper, or magazine, whatever it is. But no, it's very good. I've actually been on a panel with this guy earlier in April. There was some like virtual conference, and it was me and him and Whit Gibbs from Compass Mining, and me and this Alex DeVeers guy got into. I was just like, "You're wrong, dude. You're anti-human." Like I was very, very, very divisive. Is the term I would use. It was very confrontational. It's probably a better term actually with him, taking him head on. Lynn is just much more diplomatic and just stays to the facts, stays on the facts, and just dunked on him and his like physiognomy and posturing, and it doesn't exude strength. He does not seem like a strong man. Lynn came out much stronger in this debate. I highly recommend you guys check it out. You can go search it on YouTube, but we'll have the links in the show notes to debate crypto versus the environment, even though it was mainly about Bitcoin. I think they delved into like POS versus POW and Ethereum and all that shit too.
Justin is in the comments. Is
oh yeah.
Did you pay attention to this? He's asking our thoughts about the comments that the Mozilla Foundation and W3C said about.
Yeah, so I did pay attention to this.
Like ION or some. Like
W3C is a consortium of a bunch of companies that make up the standards for the internet protocol, like what gets standardized, what doesn't. They come and they vote and all that. And so I only know him as Daniel's his name. I forget his last name. He's like CSU Wildcat, and he's been working on the digital ID stuff, the open source ION protocol, which would bring leverage data or anchor data, into Bitcoin's blockchain to create this digital identification network. I don't know if I'm completely sold on it. Regardless, that doesn't matter about this particular topic. So they were, I believe, ION was positioning themselves to get included in this internet protocol standardization process, and they got shot down at first, like if you go read Shinobi's thread, it makes it look like the whole W3C consortium shot it down, but apparently they came out and had a tweet after all the drama and said, hey, it wasn't the whole consortium, it was one member of the consortium that dissented about the inclusion of this. And no final decision has been made, but it did sort of highlight an interesting point of control when it comes to the standardization of the internet, which is this
whatever, fuck them.
W3C. Yeah. So like the point is, like, and Shinobi made in his thread is that, like, if you want to have Bitcoin as like the native payment layer and like to fulfill the 402 error code specification, like, you're going to have to go through this standardization process and get included in that way, which is something I didn't even realize. I thought you just like plug and play and just do it without asking permission. But it seems like there is a standard.
The web's
board.
a centralized hellhole.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because like the Ethereum Foundation is part of this consortium.
Of course they are.
People setting the standards, and I wonder if there's a conflict of interest there.
Of course there is. But it's not just a conflict of interest. I mean, you said this from the very beginning, right? Like, it's an uphill battle with the energy FUD, and it's just
that's the reason why
it's going to exist for a while. You know, like
even
Marty, he joined a company that has ESG.
The dissent was the justification for the dissent was that Bitcoin consumes too much energy, or uses. You don't consume energy.
They insinuated that there was alternatives that we could use that offer the same benefits of Bitcoin without the energy consumption, which is just completely wrong. But I don't think it was a lie. I think it was
ignorance.
Ignorance. It was a lack of understanding. And I think the people are going to get woken up about it over time as they get burned.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. Did you see also yesterday or today, Apple announced their new identity initiative, which, despite what all of the quote unquote blockchain proponents will let you believe, the easiest identity solution is what Apple is suggesting. They have like 7 states that are participating in it so far. And they just have you take a picture of your driver's license and then flip it over and take a picture of the back. And then it's in your Apple wallet or whatever on your phone. And they have TSA certification. So you can just like tap your phone or have your phone's QR code. I think it's NFC based. So you just tap.
Mm-hmm. I imagine that's what Apple Pay works on.
Right. And then you incorporate that with the Vax Pass. And most Americans will just go through that centralized option. Like, you don't need a blockchain for that. On another note, we also got tagged a bunch in this. I was trying to stay off of Twitter, but I noticed the notifications and it was just hilarious. I think our boy Hector was like, oh, you got to get these blockchain experts, Matt Odell and Marty Bent, to consult on this. I think it was it was the WHO, the World Health Organization, is proposing a global blockchain-based vaccine passport that Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is the sponsor of. So yeah, that is probably coming as well. They'll be competing with Apple, and I think New York City's vaccine passport,
Excelsior,
which no. So there's 2. I'm refuse to comply with either. So I'm not positive which one is which, but New York State's one is the Excelsior Pass, and then New York City has their own. And I think New York City's is quote unquote blockchain based, whatever that means. It's definitely not the Bitcoin blockchain.
They're innovating. Our boy Bitcoin Airlog, aka John Carvalho.
We got to meet his cousin in BitBlock Boom. That was dope. I like that dude.
He was one of those individuals who I was up very late with, very few hours before my.
I love you, John, but I like your cousin better.
He's saying you don't need a blockchain for DIDs, digital identification, and you don't need W3C to bootstrap your design. I would agree with that. I don't know how I feel about digital IDs. I don't know if I like using lightning nodes, particularly as
that's a digital ID
as NIMs. I know, but
the thing about IDs is IDs exist as a part of a social contract, a social construct, right? It's the whole point of an ID is that it's a group of people deciding that this is how you're recognized, right? So you do need a place to verify that information and anchor that information and prove authenticity of that information.
Yeah.
So, the Bitcoin blockchain is the best place to do that. It's the most expensive place to do that, but it's also the most immutable place to do that.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I like I think hopefully where we're going is a place of disposable identities, which is like the idea of like Lightning node public keys or public key, private key cryptography in general, right?
Yeah. You just have like different reputations.
If you're trying to build up reputation somewhere, you're going to need to keep it.
Yeah.
Otherwise you won't have reputation, right? Yeah. Like you can't just keep disposing of it. Otherwise you have no reputation whatsoever. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. No, I think we're on the same page on this. So yeah, beware freaks. It's and again, like I like Daniel CSU Wildcat. I don't trust Microsoft at all. Like, I'm sorry. I don't trust Bill Gates. I don't trust Microsoft.
We haven't noticed.
Hey, I haven't talked about Bill in a while and his mad tits.
Your boy Bill. First name basis.
Yeah. All right. There's some funny conspiracy theories going on in the chat. Can we talk about them?
You could talk about whatever the fuck you want, Marty. I said it earlier. I'll never censor you.
Ethereum is a Goldman Sachs project. Vitalik is a hardcore Freemason. People are going to get wrecked by those guys. Vitalik is part of the SafeNet forum, and he's a Freemason. Hangs out with Freemason Ashton Kutcher. That's why he's handed.
Ashton Kutcher likes Ripple. Major Ripple proponent.
I just want to look.
I don't know about the Freemason thing. To me, that just like Vitalik is a scammer. It just the Freemason thing sounds to me like
giving him too much credit.
No, it's like Blockstream is Bilderberg Group or whatever.
Yeah, Bilderberg. Yeah. Are we Childerberg?
What does that mean?
Like we're Childerberg. We're like the opposite of Bilderberg. Like we're just do all this out in the open. We're pretty chill people.
I guess so, Marty. Great bad joke.
For a slow week, this has been a fun one.
This has been a good rip.
You want to riff on anything else before we wrap up?
I felt bad. We successfully raised 24 million sats for open source development through donations to OpenSats, which I'm a founding board member of. And 12 million of those sats was through the pin sales of the pins, but I didn't give BTC Pins a shout out. So if you like what he's doing, you should go to btcpins.com. I did feel bad about that afterwards. I got shamed on Twitter. So
as you should have.
I know, but I've shielded it multiple times and he's my boy. So I don't feel that guilty about it. Yeah. Sorry, not sorry, as Marty would always say.
Sorry, not sorry is right.
Somebody what Ty said, Childerberg is an actual event in Texas.
Boss. I thought of it first. They need to pay me some royalty.
You didn't think of it first, if it's an actual event.
I'm saying it for years. Apparently, Jack Dorsey was adding Bisq. I remember that. Like somebody was like, "Would you integrate Bisq for the?"
Oh, it's because he was talking about his decentralized exchange.
Yeah. Jack's low-key based, I would say. Twitter's got its problems, but I think Jack's.
You remember what I said last week, right? When we talked about it. Square was the ones who sued them into switching their name to Bisq because it was BitSquare before.
This was on stage, yeah. BitSquare. I like Bisq.
BitSquare is a better name.
Yes.
Bisq is a soup.
That's true.
BitSquare, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's like a decentralized square to sell Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Buy Bitcoin.
Maybe he'll give it back.
Like the garbage truck like pulling up right now?
Yeah, there's something going on. Somebody's getting furniture or something. I'm right by like the fisher, like the fishing ports here. So maybe somebody backing up, taking some fish somewhere. I'm sorry if that's annoying, freaks.
It's okay. We're used to it at this point.
What do we think?
Soon you'll be in your Austin Citadel and you won't have this issue.
Well, we're gonna get a studio. We're gonna do it right, freaks. We're gonna do it right. What else are we gonna do? Should we talk about like dystopian futures? Pulling out
Sure,
real
Marty.
time. What's going on in Australia, New Zealand, or anything like that?
So the Australia news that broke, I was trying to find a source for it. I think it's from April, and I don't think it's getting passed, but I do see that as happening as like that's going to happen more and more.
Yeah.
The news
Yeah.
we're talking about is this idea of uploading ID to open a social media account and police having access to that ID and your social media accounts. So basically KYC for all social media accounts.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, we've already been leaning into it a little bit, but it's mostly been coming from the corporate side. Facebook requiring real names. I think I saw Nifty Nay was talking about, she's helping her dad's side hustle. She was running his business Instagram account, and they wanted a 3D selfie to prove that you're a real person.
What's a 3D selfie? What the hell is going on right now?
You have to like take the phone and like put it all around you to get like a full scan of your. It's like what Binance does to people.
Is it separate pictures, or is there like an app that like allows
Marty,
you to...
they take like a video of your face, and like you like move it around and shit. You're such a boomer sometimes.
I know. Well, I'm sorry, freaks. I don't know what's going on. They must be
It's okay. It's not horrible.
They must be like putting a boat in the ocean or something, or the bay. What the fuck? I don't know what's going on over there, but I've never heard this noise. It's starting freaking me out. It's foreign noise here.
But yeah, that's where it's going, right? Twitter like bans accounts if you don't have a phone number, basically. And then they like force you to give a phone number to do it, and sometimes they block certain burner numbers. That's where it's going. That's where all this shit's going. They're trying to break anonymity online. And this is what we should have expected. This is what's always the plan. There's going to be a fight before they let everyone use the internet in a freedom preserving way.
Agreed. Again, it hasn't stopped.
Should we just wrap this up?
Let's wrap it up. But freaks, be aware. Be aware. The despots of the world, those who would like to control you, are trying to take more and more. That's why we like to meet here every Thursday and talk about how we can preserve our freedom in the digital age. Bitcoin is a very potent tool to be able to do that. We love you guys. I love you, Matt. It was great to see you in person.
I love you, Marty. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Love your freaks. Stay humble and stack sats.
All right. Peace and love. Ooh, we got live stream alpha. What do we do for the live stream alpha this week?
Marty stopped the recording for the podcast. But
here's some live stream alpha into Marty's personal life. My wife has this weird fetish. She likes to like clean my ears out with Q-tips. It's weird. Freaks me out. I need people to know. Sometimes we've been naked while doing it, but usually clothed.
Thanks for sharing.
All right. Love you guys. Okay.